Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 1304-1304. Hi, I am Mike Matthews, broadcasting from Cafe Anyway, located somewhere in Podcastro Valley, Mont, where it's raining. Today, Chely Shoehart, Floyd the Floorman, John Deere the engineer, and a segment we like to call a fine article. Because it's got an article in it, like the, or
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Or tuh, or duh. No, those aren't articles. It's an article, it's a story, is what I'm saying.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Hey, have you tried to call me at 336-MN Daily? I have to have a Haley tell me if that number works. Haley's called that number before, and Haley said jerks when Haley was talking about somebody.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
No, Haley never says jerks. Haley's got a really calm demeanor. Hey, I like the word demeanor.
Mike's
It rhymes with
Daily
meter.
Podcast.
Smeener.
Yeah!
Anthony Weiner. You know, there was a really cool thing. I didn't know this was on the YouTube, but because my Vizio TV that I bought like 6 or 7 years ago has an app on it. Now, it's probably, the Vizios that come out now are probably way whiz-bang better. But this app has YouTube on it. So I can open up YouTube and watch it on my big flat screen, which isn't that big. But I'll watch it. So I went immediately, I wanted to watch the James Comey hearing. Because that looked, I had it on, I had C-SPAN on at work, but I had the sound off. And I'm seeing all these people. I see our very own local Eric Swalwell, whatever his last name is. You will find on this show, I have facts in my head, but when they get to my mouth, they're, what do you call it? Diffused, diluted. So I'll just say his first name's Eric, and he was talking with Comey in part of the hearing. And what my point is there diffusion? My brain. What happened was there was this wonderful thing where I wanted to watch the hearing on YouTube. Look, who just walked in. And the first thing that comes up is Trey Gowdy gives James Comey the biggest, yells at him, and he gets down to the brass tacks about how Obama was totally keeping an eye on Trump and totally wiretapped Trump Tower. That's what Trey Gowdy found out. Look at this, the best part of the whole hearings. So I watched a little of that, and I just saw Trey Gowdy's crazy eyes, and I'm like, okay, that's enough of that. And then I went to, and this is true of things in this world, you know this is true, the echo chamber effect. I said, well, I'd rather watch the hearings. I wanted to watch the hearings like on C-SPAN, where there is they just give it to you straight, right? Look who else just walked in. But then I went over to Seth Meyers and the late night show he does. And he does a segment called A Closer Look. And he's been doing this since the election, and he really focuses in on Trump and the crazy stuff he does. Like Angela Merkel, the meeting on Friday, where the reporter said, hey, why don't you guys shake hands? And Angela, you hear her say, would you like to shake my hand? And Trump's like, no. Just totally, this grown man, this 70-something old man, just like turns away and he slumps over in his big gut, and he's just kind of, no, I'm gonna shake your hand. I have tremendous respect for Angela Merkel. Okay, you can debate me up and down about how she let a bunch of people, refugees, into her country, and maybe the country wasn't ready for it, whatever, but she seems to be a really smart lady. And there's a picture on my fridge of when the two of them, I'm speaking of her and Obama, were at some kind of meeting in Europe, And here's Barack Obama sitting on a bench overlooking this beautiful view of this beautiful valley somewhere in Europe. And Angela Merkel is talking to him. He's sitting, she's standing up with her arms in the air, kind of like explaining some big concept. It's an awesome picture, and I love it, of those two. And they got along, even though he did wiretap her phone. That is true, as I mentioned on the last show. Trump did bring that up. But the point being, I went to Seth Meyers and watched that closer look clip. So I love that, because I would never sit down and watch an entire episode of The Late Show, whatever they call it, Late Night with Seth Meyers, or The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, or Jimmy Kimmel's thing, or Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy whatever. Or James Corden. I like the little clips. We're in a clip world now. And I am a clip girl. And that is what I was saying, was I really enjoyed a closer look. Watch it, because he does break down all the interesting, awkward, just sort of like you put this in a time capsule and dig it up. Just 20 years from now, people will be going, why were they doing that? Why did they have a president like that? It's very fascinating. That's all I wanted to say. And whenever Haley comes to Haley, actually, when I'm at work, I always see Haley every day.
And here's today's podcast picture.
And Haley will always say things like, that xylophone thing you were talking about was true. And it was true until it was not true. I hate that expression. It's something till it's not something. People use that all the time now. Oh, it works until it doesn't work. Well, duh! That's the point of it not working. Anyway, my comment was about how a lot of music today, anyway, has that kind of that dun 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 dun. I know I can make it better than he can, and da 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 da. And I realized that I said it was a xylophone people were using. And there was some kind of a xylophone-esque type of instrument on a lot of the stuff I was talking about on the last show. But for Shawn Mendes, he's actually got someone with a guitar kind of simulating a dun, 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 dun. All right, we're just zipping through the world of culture today, aren't we? And the podcast picture today is in Foster City, which has won a bunch of awards in the Bay Area. It's got houses on little canals, and it's a beautiful little spot. The weather is the same year-round. I dated a girl for a while who had a friend that had a pool in Foster City, and we used to go to that pool, and it was always nice. I remember spending 4th of July there, and people are happy. It's diverse. It's crazy diverse. All sorts of cultures from all over the world living in Foster City. I've walked Basil the boxer there. I remember one day and talked to someone from India, talked to someone from Germany, just talked to Mexico, you name it, a nurse from Hong Kong. It was like an incredible mix of people. The dog park there, I always stop at the dog park in Foster City. When I go to Half Moon Bay, the picture last show was from Half Moon Bay, but this, when I come back over, when I'm just about to cross the San Mateo Bridge back to Podcastro Valley, I like to stop in Foster City at their little dog park. AstroTurf. That means it stinks because the dogs pee on the AstroTurf, and what happens? It just sits there. Ew. Yeah, it's not the best smelling place, but it's diverse. The people and the dogs, and I remember Basil met a Wheaton Terrier owned by a nice Asian couple, and we were talking about Wheaton Terriers and dogs in general, and what my point being was that's what the podcast picture is of Foster City. And there's this interesting sculpture of a bunch of kids on stilts, trying to walk, the wood stilt things, and they're playing around, and it's a statue of them, but then there's this beautiful view of this little bay in Foster City with them. So you can see that picture now at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. I finally I didn't even talk to any of the characters yet, have I? Wow, this show's been so whiz-bang. Look who's here.
Hello, Mike Matthews. It's Chely Shoehart, the gift shop supervisor. Whiz bang, what does that mean?
I don't know. It's sort of this concept I once heard. This word diffused my brain. Diluted.
Mike Matthews, last night I went on a date with Bob. And we saw the new Beauty and the Beast movie. It's a beautiful tale as old as time, Mike Matthews.
That's beautiful. And did Bob enjoy it?
He loved it. We kept looking for Angela Lansbury, though.
Yeah, I don't think she's in it. Look who else is here. Oh, Mike, this is Floyd the Floorman! And this is John Deere, the engineer. Yes, the live action of Beauty and the Beast had the biggest opening of all time. That's right, Mike! So Disney's gonna make all their cartoons live action now! It's interesting, isn't it? It went from cartoon to 3D animation to just live action. Heck, we could have just turned the cameras on and didn't have to do all that animating and drawing and stuff. Sorry, drawing people. I think they prefer to be called cartoonists, Mike. Oh. Cafe O. I mean, cafe anyway.
Anyway.
My point being that was, I don't know. I'll at some point see it. I still gotta watch Zootopia. That's still on the Netflix. I gotta watch that at some point. Okay, so there, Comey said yesterday no information supports the tweets that Trump gave about the wiretapping of Trump Tower. There is no information at all. And yet, Comey, even though he's saying all this stuff that's anti-Trump, he was sure anti-Hillary during the presidential campaign. Did he mean to be? When he said, I have information now about the emails. And everybody was like, oh, this is going to be it. This is going to be it. Hillary is going to go to jail. And he ended up being not.
Because you'd be in jail.
And that whole thing has gone away, hasn't it? As we've focused more and more on the Russian connection to Trump and the election. Hillary has gotten off scot-free, and she's... But the disrespect that Trump is showing to Obama is of such a magnitude. I don't remember any president doing that to a former president. Not even Reagan to Carter. And Carter, when people voted for Reagan, it was just a total mandate against Carter and the bad years of the high gas prices and the gas lines and whatnot, and the Iran hostage situation. Yet Reagan didn't say stuff about Jimmy Carter the way Trump is saying stuff about Obama. It's crazy. But if you are a Trump supporter, you'll be saying to me, smokescreen. Words like smokescreen, and the Democrats are just sore losers, and they should just let it go. But there was some cost paid there. Something is up there, and it just needs to be investigated. And there'll always be Trey Gowdy's. There'll always be Eric's blah blah blah, whatever his last name is. And I'm done talking the politics part. Almost. First, I just want to mention the website is MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST-1304-Delude. Go there and find stuff like the past podcast pictures and hear the past shows. Also, the music that the piano player is playing in the background, I have that on CD if you'd like to buy that. No, I don't, actually. That's just, you hear it on every show, so why would you want a CD of it? No, but you can hear past shows and help out the show through the Amazon link. Click on that and buy whatever it is you're going to buy, and that helps us out. There's also a link to the PayPal. You'll get a special greeting from all the Cafe Anyway characters. And you'll get it, yeah. All right, now let's get to the segment, A Fine Article.
A fine article.
You silly great fat article.
So, the NBC News, Benji Sarlin, wrote this little thing. Leaders in Congress, law enforcement, and intelligence are struggling to convince one man that an investigation he imagined never existed and at another probe that he refuses to acknowledge is real. The surreal dynamic reached its zenith yesterday as FBI Director James Comey and NSA Director Mike Rogers confirmed there's no evidence to back up Donald Trump's accusation that President Barack Obama illegally ordered a wiretap of Trump Tower. I have no information that supports those tweets, and we have looked carefully inside the FBI, Comey said. At one point, Trump tweeted while watching the hearing, and then one of the congressmen asked Comey about the tweet that Trump just tweeted. It was weird. It was meta. In a more explosive revelation, Comey also said the FBI was investigating potential links between the Trump campaign and Russian hacking in the 2016 election. An issue Trump tweeted just that morning was made up by Democrats to excuse their loss in November. The twin disclosures leave Trump alone on an island of conspiracy theories, and that's a problem for the president, but it has the potential to create issues that go far beyond. The president's commentary, says Matthew Waxman, a Columbia Law professor who held national security positions under President George W. Bush, said that the president's commentary about surveillance allegations and the Russian election meddling investigation is dangerous. He listed a myriad of potential consequences: corroding the relationship between the White House and the intelligence community, interfering with the government agency's usual work, exposing rifts with lawmakers in Congress, and suggesting to allies that Russian aggression is not taken seriously. But the biggest issue might be Trump's credibility. For those keeping score on Trump's wiretap claim, Monday's hearing means it's now his word against the FBI, the NSA, the Department of Justice, the top Republican and Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee, the top Republican and Democrat on the Senate Intelligence Committee, and former Director of National Intelligence James Clapper, all of whom said there is no evidence to support his attack. That is a long list, my friend. Retired Admiral James Stavridis said, "Our credibility is shredding in front of us." Expanding outside the United States, the list of those troubled by Trump's claims includes the British intelligence agency GCHQ, which Spicer and Trump roped into the story by citing Fox News commentator Andrew Napolitano's suggestion that Obama ordered the agency to spy on his behalf. On Monday, the NSA director joined GCHQ, which called the claim utterly ridiculous last week. In shooting down speculation about its involvement, Rogers said Trump's insinuation, quote, clearly frustrates a key ally of ours. Thank you, President Trump. He has not provided any persuasive evidence since initially lashing out at Obama on March 4th in a series of early morning tweets. March 4th, as you'll recall, was a Saturday morning. And I guess the president had too much time on his hands. No, the dude has to have something to do all the time. He is one of these people that can't sit still, and that can be a problem. The devil dances in, the idle hands is the devil's handiwork. Whatever that saying is. Fool me once, fool me twice. I don't do expressions. I don't do sayings. I just do concepts. And I dilute what I'm saying. I diffuse it. In a Fox interview last week, he defended himself by citing news reports that he did not support his claim, while vaguely suggesting he might bring forth new evidence. I mean, let's see whether or not I prove it, he said at the time. I just don't choose to do it right now. Oh, he loves doing that. He loves this thing.
I will tell you at the time. I'll keep you in suspense.
The combination of a president with his own facts, quote unquote, who also never backs down, has created a feedback loop in which dubious statements raise new questions, which then generate false responses, which foster even more questions. In fact, he's the source of the fake news. He makes the fake news. As we all know, as we go outside a cafe anyway, we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley. The next show, we'll have Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, and the Brewmaster. Have a wonderful second day of spring. Bring your umbrella if you're in the Bay Area. We got some more rain. Enjoy your day. I'm going to now stop talking.
Delude.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com.
Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com.
See you tomorrow. Bye!